What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. You can call me Mr. Ben. Well, that's kind of weird. You could call me Mr. Taft, but that's my dad or my grandpa. Don't call me Mr. Taft. That really makes me feel old. All right, real quick here. If you hear the fan in the background, I'm sorry. Summer apparently decided it was finally going to come to New York, and I'm sweaty. I went from work to the gym to loading the carts up for this weekend's activity, double race Friday and Saturday for Central New York UAS. So I'm trying to get that ready. I had already, full transparency, I had already shot this video, and as I'm loading up, you know, my brain's constantly going. I'm like, you know what, I think I can do better, a better explanation. So I'm going to attempt to do that now. So if you're hearing this message, it means that the first video got deleted. But if you're, you won't know if you get the first one, I guess. Anyway, tighten, loosen, free up. So this video is going to be things that I would do to my cart to tighten or loosen the cart at track. Now, I think the first segment is I'm going to break down for the new people. Again, I have to reference, not everybody knows what this is. And I, for one, didn't. I was 25 years old. It was 2002. I was 25 years old. I finally got in a cart. My old man bought 2 carts, this and that. I'm racing them. I come in complaining it's not handling, it's not fast. And he says, well, what's it doing? And I went, and he says, hey, I can't adjust for, I don't know what that is. All I can think of is Days of Thunder, the Tom Cruise scene where, Harry's got him. Well, what's it doing? Is it loose? Is it tight? He's just like, I don't know what you mean. That was me. So this first section is going to be my explanation of what loose and tight is for new people coming in. And then we'll go into what I do to my cart in order to free it up or tighten it up or, adjustments I make at track. So give me a second here. Let me get situated. I don't know. We'll see. See you in a second. Okay, what does it mean to be loose or to be tight? This is, it seems like a simple scenario to figure out, but you might not know when you're actually driving the cart. So I could also reference this in, terms of F1 or IndyCar or something like that. It would be called understeer or oversteer. Oversteer is when your front end is biting too much. You have no rear grip. Your tail just wants to come out from underneath you, but the nose will point wherever you want it to go. That is oversteer. Understeer is where you're going into the corner and you turn the wheel and nothing happens. So this can all be usually resolved with, scale settings. More than likely, tires could be, it could be a thing that would make you loose or tight, and I'll describe that in a second here. But I think that scaling, chances are, if you're just tight all the way through if you're going into the turn and you turn all the way, and from entry to center to exit, it just will not turn. Your scale percentages are off. You have too much rear percent. In my opinion, that would be a major thing. Or your staggers are off. That's quite possible. Same goes with being too loose. You may be too far forward in your cart. You may be sitting upright too much with too much of your body weight forward on the cart, giving the cart too much nose weight, giving it too much oversteer. So I hope that explains that portion to you. So I'm going to grab my cart here and we're going to walk around it real quick. And I'm going to just talk about some of the things that one might do in order to compensate either a loose feeling or a tight feeling. Okay, everyone, here we are. We're looking at my UAS ride. Ain't she pretty? She don't have a body on. So, I got this out of the trailer real quick. I was all loaded up. I thought, you know what, the better way to describe this. Oh, jeez, my air filter fell off. Okay. The better way to describe this would be for me to actually be looking at the cart. Me talking in front of the camera. Sometimes I get lost in what I'm saying, but if I'm looking at the cart, I think I have a better understanding of what's going on. So a wise man once told me, the first time you get to the track, what you need to set correct for the track is your rear stagger. So the rear stagger would be the difference in that size. in that size. So for instance, I believe this is 1.25 inch rear stagger right now. The difference between that circumference and that circumference, 1.25 inches. I'm going to a short track. I need a little bit of turn. So the idea is that you can work the grip of your tires if you have good turn in the center. But say that's not enough. Okay, your tires are doing well, but what might you do? Say you have a terrible push. Well, this is a current chassis. So again, what I call right rear dependent. So the amount of pressure on this tire is how tight or loose you're going to be. The more pressure that's on this tire, the tighter the chassis is going to be, which means it's not going to want to steer. You're going to have phenomenal grip, but it's not going to want to get off this tire. So you're going to want to get off this tire, and what you're going to do is you're going to put cross from this tire to that tire, right front to left rear. You're going to put cross into it to get off this, to free the chassis up. All right, say that's, you're all out of cross adjustments. And what I mean by that is we're going to come up here, try and get, there's the spindles there and the spindle here. Well, the right front is going to be all the way down. The left front is going to be all the way up. That is going to be the max cross. That is all the cross you can get in there. You're talking, we have 1.5 inch front stagger here. That's recommended by manufacturer. We have 1.25 inch back here. So what could you do to increase cross? Well, this tire is tipped. This has got, I think I have 2.75 degrees negative camber, so the tire's tipped this way. I might tip this tire down a little bit, effectively putting pressure here, which puts pressure back on the left rear, increasing the cross and getting off this tire. You could also reduce your rear stagger to increase cross. Now, you have to be careful now, because when you decrease your rear stagger, that what I brought up first, you want the center of your corner to be right. So if it's turning real well, I wouldn't be playing with that all too much. Just my opinion, but it is possible. All right, what else might I do? There is, if it's just a slight type of push that you have, a slight bit of tightness, what you might want to do is, if you're prepping tires, you may just want to prep your front tires. Clean your rear tires, leave them be, or possibly go to a softer set or a softer right front so that tire bites a little better, still giving you the bite that you had in your rear end, but increasing the front bite of your front end. Now, these other things that I'm going to mention here might not be the best if you've taken the time to really scale your cart, to get your cart super balanced, but these things will work in a pinch. If you are super tight, you can spread your rear track width. So you can take, say, this rear hub, take the tire off, loosen your rear hub, and move your hub out just a little bit. I wouldn't go any more than the 1/16, maybe 1/4 inch at a time, depending how tight you are. Spreading your rear axle will free up the chassis. The same with the front. If you narrow the front, I don't recommend that. Leave your front end alone. But I'm saying these are possibilities. I'm not telling you to do it, but these are possibilities. These things do take effect. Also, you could shift weight around. You could put some left side weight on your seat to give you more left hand. That is effectively going to give you more cross. Or if it's pushing, you put some nose weight in. Now, this is going to mess up your scale number. So, like, if you meticulously took the time on your scales, you got everything looking real good. If you start doing this stuff at track, you throw all that out. But you may be in a pinch to where it's just not handling on that track, and you may need to do these kind of extreme things. I like to play with cross personally. I know it's kind of a taboo with some of the clone guys. Us UAS guys, we're not afraid to make big adjustments. Okay, and let me say all this while we're standing here. Everything I just said for fixing a push, fixing a tight condition, the opposite would be true for loosening the chassis. I much prefer a loose chassis. I prefer to be free, a little bit. I can meter, the power going to the ground with my right foot. I'd rather be able to turn than not turn. There is nothing more frustrating than, getting a line on somebody, picking up the throttle, and the nose just takes off on you. So there's my opinion on that. Okay, another thing that you can do, I made a quick video about this, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I'm not quite sure, but your air pressures. So say this air pressure right here, the right side is 5, the left side is 4. If I have a tight condition to where it doesn't want to turn as good as what I need it to do, I might increase this side's pressure by 1/2 pound, or decrease. It really doesn't matter which side to do it. So effectively turning this into 5.5 and still the 4. So that's a 1.5 pound split. That is going to free the chassis up all the way around. It's not really going to cure, say, just a push off the turn, but it is going to take, it's going to take a little bit out of the chassis altogether, if you know what I'm saying. Some of the other things, that I don't highly recommend at track. You can do it if you want. Like I said, if you didn't want to add any more weight to the cart, you didn't want to put a lead weight on it, you're already at weight or, just above. You don't want to, you could move your seat. Again, I don't recommend it, especially at track. If you're that bad, if you're handling that bad, go ahead and do it, but it's just not something I would normally suggest. I would find other avenues, like I'm saying, you could move your seat a little more forward to give yourself a little more nose. You could move it to the left to give yourself a little more left, help it get around the turn, but ideally not something I recommend. And this part is going to be just for UAS guys. So I had to mention it since this is a UAS ride. You're going to tip a little nose wing into it. The nose wing at the speeds we're going, debatable how much effect it actually has. It just looks super cool, but it does work. I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that nose wings don't work. Obviously, it's an airfoil. It will work to an extent, but you have to be kind of at a certain speed. So actually creating a blockade to where it's forcing the nose down, okay, that might. Where I can tell you it really happens is when you're on, where my wing would be right about here if I had the body on, and that thing, I keep my rear wing just about flat. It works so well that anything like an 1/8 inch change in it, if I'm tipping that tail of that wing up just 1/8 of an inch, holy smokes, do I get tight getting into the turn. So that point right there is for your UAS / open guys with wedge bodies. Okay, well, there you go. Those are a couple things that I like to do at track. Like I said, if you're the opposite, if you're not dealing with a tight condition, take everything I just said and kind of reverse it. I didn't want to go ahead and repeat myself over again, like, and I think the language gets a little more confusing. So go back, watch it. Hey, he says, to add stagger or decrease stagger. The opposite would be true for the different, if you wanted to free a chassis up or if you wanted to tighten a chassis up. You get where I'm saying. Now, I didn't mention your low cross chassis. So the only difference in there, everything remains true to what I just said, except for the right rear dependent. Okay, that you're going to be opposite of that. So I would think of your left rear and planning your left rear. On a low cross chassis, the left rear is how much drive you have. So if you want to free a chassis, get off the left rear. If you want to tighten a chassis, put cross into it and plant that left rear. Those are the two differences. I didn't want to mention it in the footage there because I thought maybe the language would be a little confusing. Just reverse, opposite of everything I just said. So I really hope this helped some of you. Down in the comments, if there are other things that you guys like to do to free a chassis, to tighten up a chassis, feel free to comment down below. People do look at the comments, people do read the comments, and maybe you can help out some of the new racers that might not know what's going on, or if I didn't cover something, that again, I'm not the end all be all of kart knowledge by no stretch of the imagination. I learn every day. I find new things to try, and I'm trying to, give these things to you to help you out in your kart racing. So, if you like this video, hit a like. If you didn't mind, subscribe to the channel. That would be great. Numbers are growing. People like this stuff. I think you like this stuff. I hope you like this stuff. But you can always share the video. I never mentioned that. There is a share button down below. If you thought that maybe somebody this information could be useful to them, share it out there. I would really appreciate that. But all right, going racing tomorrow. Like I said, double feature this weekend. Hopefully the weather looks okay. I haven't even looked at the weather. I'm so anxious to go to racing. We're just racing. I'm not looking at the weather. We're just racing. That's how it is. God's gonna make this happen. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. Later.